Welcome to the studios of WCMU Public Media. This time, Clare and Manistee are in the spotlight. That match is coming up next. Hello again, everyone. I'm David Nicholas, and welcome to Quiz Central. This time, we have students from Clare competing against Manistee in this 16-team single elimination tournament. Top teams from Quiz Central will qualify for the NAQT High School National Championship Tournament. And now let's get to our game. The first round is the Maroon and Gold Rush. Teams will have 2 minutes to answer as many toss-up questions as they can. If a team answers incorrectly, the opposing school has an opportunity to answer that question. Teams may not consult during this round. New this year, players will receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely, and that will be indicated by an orange light above their name. Answers are worth 10 points apiece with no deduction for incorrect answers. If our players are all set, here comes your first question. What woman who joined an expedition while carrying her son Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau was a Shoshone woman who helped guide Lewis and Clark?
Sacagawea.
That is correct. Corruption in which country's state-owned oil company led to Operation Car Wash, which implicated former President Dilma Rousseff?
India.
Incorrect. Guess then possibility for Claire if you want to steal.
Saudi Arabia.
Also incorrect. What German-born composer worked with Charles Jennens on an oratorio that includes For Unto Us a Child is Born and the Hallelujah Chorus, Messiah?
Bach.
Incorrect. Manistee with a guess. On to the next question then. What English physicist lends his name to the type of scattering of light that causes the sky to appear blue?
Newton.
That's incorrect. Manistee, do you have a guess to steal? All right, we'll move on to our next question. What singer who guested on Girl in Red's song You Need Me Now released the album Short and Sweet and says to switch it up like Nintendo and Espresso?
Sabrina Carpenter.
That is correct. In 1999, Irish author Seamus Heaney produced a lauded translation of what epic about a hero who comes to the aid of Hrothgar? Come to the end of the round. We did not get an answer on that question, but let's check those that we did not get here. And that Irish author, Seamus Heaney, we were looking for the answer of Beowulf. The corruption in what country's state-owned oil? We were looking for the country of Brazil. And the German-born composer who worked with Charles Jennens, we were looking for George Friedrich Handel. And the English physicist, the answer we were looking for there was Lord Rayleigh. And at the end of the first round, Manistee is out in front, 20-0. But before we start our next round, let's learn a little bit more about our teams competing today. First, the students from Clare.
Hi, my name is Holly Chapman. I'm a senior at Clare High School, and I play the euphonium in marching band.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm a junior at Clare High School, and I play soccer.
Hi, my name is David, and I play Barry sax in the jazz band.
Hi, I'm Jack Meisner, and I bowl.
Thank you, Claire, and welcome. Next, we welcome the students from Manistee.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm a senior at Manistee High School, and I play golf and tennis.
Hi, I'm Clare. I'm also a senior at Manistee, and I play golf.
Hi, I'm Tristan. I'm a junior, and I play soccer and skiing.
Hi, I'm Andy. I'm a junior at Manistee High School, and I play football.
And a big thank you to all of our students. Always good to have you with us. Now, the next round on Quiz Central is the kickoff round, and this round includes a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up gets the opportunity to answer a single bonus question. No stealing on the bonus question, and after a bonus question, we will go back to a toss-up for both teams. Players will receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. Buzzer's ready. Take a deep breath. Here we go with your first question. What team used a controversial 1982 kickoff return, known simply as the play, to defeat rival Stanford, whose marching band was out on the field?
Cal.
That is correct. And a bonus question for Manistee. What city whose baseball team drafted Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez is on the Puget Sound
Seattle.
and is home to Pike Place Market and the Space Needle?
Seattle.
That is correct. Back to a toss-up now for both teams. In the genetic code, the start codon AUG encodes what amino acid that, like cysteine, contains sulfur?
Guanine.
That is incorrect. We have a guess from Claire. All right, back to another toss-up for both. What man who commissioned Otto Griesing to design the low-cost Volksempfänger radios was the Reich Minister of Propaganda in Nazi Germany?
Joseph Goebbels.
That is correct. And a bonus question now for Manistee. The statesman Pericles lost his life in what type of disaster that devastated Athens beginning in 430 BC?
The eruption.
I thought it was an earthquake.
Oh.
Earthquake.
That is incorrect. Back to a toss-up now for both teams. What American painter of the Sky Above Clouds series is renowned for landscapes featuring animal skulls and flowers set in the American Southwest?
O'Keefe.
That is correct. Bonus question to Manistee. In what state did Governor Maura Healey visit the site of a July 2025 fire that killed 9 people at an assisted living facility in Fall River?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it could be New York, but
New York.
Incorrect. Back to a toss-up for both teams. What gospel, which features the motif of the messianic secret, is the shortest of the synoptic gospels and comes immediately after Matthew?
Mark.
That is correct. Bonus question now for Claire. What noble gas that comprises about 1% of the Earth's atmosphere has atomic number 18?
Is it nitrogen?
Is nitrogen? No, I don't think nitrogen is a noble gas.
It's a gas.
No, is it
not.
Is it neon?
It might be.
Do you have an answer?
Neon.
Incorrect. Back to a toss-up for both teams. What structure whose small size was discovered in the Rutherford gold foil experiment consists of protons and neutrons at the center of an atom?
Nucleus.
Correct for Claire. And a bonus question now. The overactivity of dopamine receptors may cause the symptoms of what psychiatric disorder characterized by hallucinations and delusions?
Schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
That is also correct. Come to the end of the round. Good work by both teams. Let's check the questions that were missed by both teams in that round. The genetic code, the start codon AUG, it was methionine. And the statesman Pericles lost his life because of the plague of Athens. The state in which Governor Maura Healey visited the site of the July 2025 fire, the answer there was Massachusetts. And the noble gas comprising about 1%, the answer is argon. Coming to the end of that first round, and we have a current score underway. Manistee at 60, Clare at 30. Players, our next round today is the Perfect 10. And in the Perfect 10, you'll have 60 seconds to answer questions from a choice of clues to 3 categories. The opposing team will have 30 seconds to answer any unasked, incorrect, or skipped questions. You can consult throughout the entire round. We'll take the answers from the captain. The team that's trailing gets the first choice to pick a clue to a category. All right, Claire, we come to you first in the Perfect 10. You've got your choice from one of the 3 categories: counting to 10, silver screen survey, or paperback writer.
I think we gotta take silver screen.
That's about movies.
No.
I think
Do we
we
wanna do
know more
counting or
about
paperback
movies
writer?
than math. I don't know math.
I think we should do counting.
I did not come here to
Counting to
do
10.
math.
I think we should do counting to 10.
Counting to 10.
Holly, do you think you can do it?
Guys are
All right, what's your pick?
silver screen.
Counting to 10.
Counting to 10. The clue here is multiples of 10. Give these multiples of 10. And you have 60 seconds to begin your Perfect 10 round, and we get that started with this. Number of winks in a full night's sleep.
Pass.
100.
Number before day fiance in a TLC reality series.
90.
Oh, yeah, 90.
90.
Years in a war ended in by the 1648 Peace of Westphalia.
100 years of work.
100.
The decimal equivalent of the Roman numeral LX.
Alex would be 40, right?
Would it be 60? It'd be 60.
Oh.
XL would be 40. 60 would be
60.
Number of years of solitude in a Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel.
20.
20. Yeah, I was going to say 20.
Downing Street address number of the British Prime Minister.
Oh,
Anything? 30th.
10, isn't it? 10.
Didn't get that answer in before the bell. We're coming over to you now, Manistee. You've got 30 seconds to pick up on the answers left over from that. The category counting to 10. The clue again, multiples of 10. Give these multiples of 10. Number of winks in a full night's sleep.
Wouldn't it be like 0?
I don't care.
0.
Years in a war ended by the 1648 Peace of Westphalia.
I would say 20. But
20.
Number of years of solitude
I think
in a
it's 30.
Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel.
30.
Downing Street address number of the British Prime Minister.
10. 10.
All right, we wrap up that portion of the Perfect 10. Right now we're at 70-30, Manistee in front of Clare. And now let's take a quick look at the questions that were missed. The number of winks we were looking for the full night's sleep, that is 40 winks. The year in which was ended by the 1648 Peace of Westphalia was a 30 Years' War. Number of years of solitude, we were looking for 100. All right, Manistee, you are next up in the Perfect 10. 60 seconds for you to choose and answer the questions here from one of the 2 remaining categories, silver screen survey and paperback writer.
You guys want to do
Paperback?
writer?
I
Yeah.
would like paperback. But
Paperback writer.
Paperback writer is your choice. And the clue, women writers, name the female American authors who wrote these works. Again, women writers, name the female American authors who wrote these works. Manistee, your Perfect 10 begins with this. The novel Little Women.
Alcott.
The poem I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died.
Oh, I don't know.
Dickinson.
The novel To Kill a Mockingbird.
oh, Harper.
Harper.
No, Lee. Harper Lee.
Harper Lee.
The novel Beloved.
Oh, I don't know.
Pass.
Yeah.
The autobiography I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings.
Oh,
That sounds familiar. I can't.
Pass.
The poem Daddy.
Pass.
The novel Their Eyes Were Watching God.
Pass.
The short story, A Good Man is Hard to Find.
Pass.
The novel, The Awakening.
That sounds familiar. I can't think of an author.
Pass.
The horror novel, time. We didn't get to that last question. Okay, Claire, we will be coming to you with a chance to pick up on the questions that were missed in that, and you'll have 30 seconds for your follow-up. The novel, Beloved.
Toni Morrison.
Toni Morrison.
The autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings.
Maya Angelou.
The poem, Daddy.
This is the one thing that wrote the bell jar.
Just say Elcott.
What?
Just say Elcott.
Elcott.
The novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God.
Jane Austen.
No, she was British.
Was she British?
Time. Get through all of those, and we'll review in just a moment the questions that were missed on both sides. We end that round at Manistee 100, Clare 70. If we go back to check those answers, the poem Daddy, the answer we were looking for was Sylvia Plath. The novel Their Eyes Were Watching God, the answer there was Zora Neale Hurston. From earlier, the short story, A Good Man is Hard to Find, we were looking for Mary Flannery O'Connor. The author of The Awakening, Kate Chopin, or Catherine O'Flaherty. And finally, the horror novel, The Haunting of House Hill. The answer there, the writer Shirley Hardy Jackson. So again, we are at 100 for Manistee, Clare for 70, as we get set for the home stretch. As we continue our game, we do so heading down the home stretch, a round that includes a combination of toss-up and bonus questions. The team that correctly answers the toss-up gets the opportunity to answer a single bonus question. There's no stealing on the bonus questions, and after a bonus question, we do go back to a toss-up for both teams. Players will receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. Buzzers ready for all of our players? Here comes your first question. What insect, known as Pediculus humanus capitis, feeds on a human scalp blood, lays nits that attach to hair shafts, and spreads by head-to-head contact?
Lice.
That is correct. Bonus question for Claire. What disease, which can cause postherpetic neuralgia, is caused by a reactivation of the Varicella zoster virus, which also causes chickenpox?
Measles.
Measles.
Oh, that sounds right.
No.
So, wait,
Go for it.
Just go with you.
measles.
That is incorrect. Toss up for both teams. What author who wrote about kidnappers who return their captive in the ransom of Red Chief used twist endings in stories like The Gift of the Magi? What regnal name was shared by the English king who overthrew Roger Mortimer and won the 1346 Battle of Crecy, and his son, known as the Black Prince?
Charles.
Incorrect. We have a guess from Claire.
Richard.
Incorrect. Back to a toss-up for both. What Chinese dynasty was founded by the Hongwu Emperor, sponsored the voyages of Zheng He, and succeeded the Yuan dynasty?
The Qin Dynasty.
That's incorrect. Claire?
The Han Dynasty.
Also incorrect. Back to toss-up for both. What country, which is home to the underground aqueducts of the Quants of Gaspa, contains Persepolis, the ancient capital of the Persian Empire?
Iran.
That is correct. Bonus question for Claire. What best-selling drug, a GLP-1 agonist used for diabetes and weight loss treatment, is now making over $3 billion a month for Novo Nordisk?
Ozempic.
Insulin.
Ozempic.
Ozempic.
Ozempic is correct.
Ozempic is insulin.
Back to a toss-up for both teams. What character, whose alter egos include Joe Cool and a World War I flying ace who rivals the Red Baron, is Charlie Brown's pet beagle in Peanuts?
Snoopy.
Snoopy is correct. The bonus question, Dr. Bernard Ria notices that a disease has entered the Algerian city of Oran in what novel by Albert Camus?
I literally have no idea.
War and Peace.
Peace, no. Foreign language. Throw a book out there.
I don't know.
War and
Answer?
Peace. Pass.
All right. Back to a toss-up then for both teams. What quantity is time-dependent in rheopatic and thixotropic fluids, is measured in the units of poises and corresponds to a fluid's resistance to flow?
Viscosity?
Viscosity is correct. A bonus question for Manistee. What general and former French war hero was sentenced to life in prison for presiding over the collaborationist Vichy regime during World War II?
Andy?
No.
Answer?
No.
Back to a toss-up for both. What author depicted a murderous chess-playing robot in Moxon's Master and described Peyton Farquhar's execution in an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge?
Agatha Christie.
Incorrect. Do we have a guess from Manistee? All right, back to a toss-up for both. What conic section can be made by graphing a relation of inverse proportion, such as y equals 1 over x?
An exponential function.
Incorrect. Do we have a guess from Manistee?
Cube root function.
Incorrect also. Toss up for both teams. What peninsula, whose rivers include the Douro and Tagus, is bordered on the north by the Pyrenees and contains the countries of Spain and Portugal?
Iberian.
The Iberian Peninsula is correct. The bonus, what region whose name comes from the Maasai for endless plains is an ecosystem in Tanzania and Kenya that features an annual great migration?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Do you guys think it's Savannah?
Savannah?
Could be.
The Savannah.
Savannah is incorrect. Back now we come to the end of the round. 120 for Clare, 110 for Manistee. Good, close game. Before we move on, let's go back to check the answers that were missed in that round. What 14th century Moroccan traveler recorded his observations in the Rila? We were looking for Ibn Tuta. The disease which can cause the post-therapeutic neuralgia, we were looking for shingles is the disease there. The author with the twist endings was O. Henry. Name shared by the English king who overthrew Roger Mortimer. That name shared is Edward. The Chinese dynasty that was founded by the Hongwu Emperor was the Ming dynasty. And Dr. Bernard Rea notices that the disease we were looking for was the plague. The general and former French war hero sentenced to life in prison, we were looking for Henri-Philippe Pétain. The author who depicted the murderous chess-playing robot, that author's name was Ambrose Bierce. The conic section can be made by graphing a relation of inverse proportion. We were looking for hyperbola. And the region whose name comes from the Maasai Endless Plains, the Serengeti. And that brings us to our final 2 minutes of our game. We call it the final countdown. Teams will have 2 minutes to answer as many toss-up questions as they can. If a team answers incorrectly, the opposing school has the opportunity to answer that question in a steal. Teams may not consult during this round. And remember, new this year, players receive a 1-second penalty if they ring in before a toss-up question has been read completely. And that'll be indicated by an orange light above their name. Answers, as always, worth 10 points apiece, and there is no deduction for incorrect answers. All ready? To all of our players, both teams, let's go. Here comes your first question. What president's appointment of so-called midnight judges near the end of his tenure led to the landmark case Marbury v. Madison? Claire.
Madison.
That is incorrect. We have a guess from Manistee. Next question, toss-up for both. What composer, nicknamed the Red Priest, wrote the contest between harmony and invention, whose first 4 violin concertos are known as the Four Seasons?
Vivaldi.
That is correct. Next question. What 17th century Italian artist sculpted the Fountain of the Four Rivers and the Ecstasy of St. Teresa?
Michelangelo.
Incorrect. Next question. Sorry. Manistee, do you have a guess on that?
Da Vinci.
Also incorrect. Now on to our next question. What name was shared by the clergyman from Nicaea who wrote a widely used rule for monks, and by the Pope who succeeded John Paul II in 2005?
Francis.
That is incorrect. Manistee with a shot. Next question, toss up for both. What American author of the Drum Taps poems opened another poem with the line, "Out of the cradle, endlessly rocking"?
Robert Frost.
Incorrect. Manistee with a guess?
That's a good guess.
Next question, toss up for both. Left untreated infection by what virus which uses GP120 envelope? We come to the end of that round, did not get through that question. Let's check, first of all, our unanswered questions there and the incorrect answers. Left untreated, that infection we are looking for is HIV. The president whose appointment of the so-called midnight judges, John Adams. The 17th century Italian artist was Gian Lorenzo Bernini, and the nickname shared by the clergyman from Nicaea, Benedict XVI. What American author of the Drum Taps poems? Walt Whitman. And we come to the end of that final countdown. A very good close game today. Clare 130, Manistee 110. Congratulations, Manistee. Well done, players, and we appreciate you playing with us today. And congratulations to Clare. You'll be moving on to another round of Quiz Central. We'll look forward to having you back. I'm David Nicholas, and we hope you will join us next time for another edition of Quiz Central right here on WCMU. Have a good night.